Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. I'm excited today. We got an expert in the space today, doing it for 14 plus years, been teaching this information for 10 plus years, and really focusing nationwide, but started here in Arizona, residential assistant living for senior homes. And so we could chat a little bit about it towards the end, but as a 3-day event in person, where kind of deep dives into this, and as a course, educating individuals on this is something that a lot of baby boomers are getting to the point, like there's more that are in this predicament and kind of need that help, that assistance. And it's a great investment opportunity where it can really make it a win-win scenario. So I love this. I've been hearing more about it. I'm excited to have you on today with us to be able to share with myself and all the listeners. So how are you today?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, for all the listeners that don't know exactly who you are, where you're from, what you're up to, do you mind just giving that 30,000 foot view?
Let's do it. I'm Isabelle, the COO of Residential Assisted Living Academy. And basically, I own and operate care homes, just like Brandon was saying there. We teach and train real estate investors, medical professionals, and entrepreneurs how to do this too. So how to cash flow and help seniors at the same time.
I love it. And then, so this is nationwide, right?
Nationwide. We teach people in all 50 states.
Okay, cool. So talk to me about what your portfolio looks like, and like, how did this even come about? Was it in the family, or were you doing any other types of real estate first? What does that look like?
Yeah, actually, I had just graduated college and my grandmother fell and broke her hip and she needed assisted living, and she was living in upstate New York at the time. Yep. We went out to visit. Every option was terrible. I mean, bad care, bad food, expensive with waiting lists. They stunk when you walked in. Like, it was like, I don't want to leave my goldfish, let alone my grandmother here, right?
Yeah, that's good.
It was bad. So we were like, there has to be something else, something better. And my dad had been a real estate investor for 30 plus years up to this point. And, we went back to Arizona where we lived. We're like, there's a lot of old people here. There's got to be some other options, some alternatives. Sure. And we stumbled into residential assisted living. So it's just a residential home housing somewhere between 6 and 16 seniors. Not knowing what he was doing, he purchased an existing one, the real estate and the business. Really? And we were up and running, cash flowing right away, and with the intent to move my grandmother in. So we really did it for her. She passed before we could move her in, but we fell in love with this industry and then opened a couple more since then. We now have 3 care homes in the Phoenix, Scottsdale market. And then we've taught a lot of people how to do it, and now we invest in them across the country as well.
I love that. So out of necessity, basically, it just started kind of manifesting into something. And your dad, being a real estate investor in general, I just kind of stumbled into this opportunity, bought right, it cash flowed day one in your backyard. So this was back in 2010, roughly.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, it's been a minute. And when, when he was doing the math and when we were searching for care for her, we were like, wait. We're going to pay $5,000 a month for her to live in a home or facility, or we could own the home, cash flow $10,000 a month, and she can live for free. Yep. So it made so much sense to get into this because he already had that background. And I grew up around real estate with that being his career, and nothing piqued my interest with what he was doing until this. I was like, what are you doing? What's going on? And I just started like coming and learning from him. And I really just soaked it all up. And the rest is history.
Yeah. Isabella, I want to get to the nitty gritty stuff, like the numbers, but talk to me about how many people can this actually, like, how many seniors can it fit? And then I guess staff, what does that look like?
Depending on where you are in the country, you're allowed to have somewhere between 6 and 16 residents in the home.
Okay.
So every state, and then even further, your county may have a rule or regulation around it. So in Phoenix, we're limited to 10 residents, and think like 300 to 500 square feet per resident. So we're talking minimum of 3,000 square foot home, upwards of 5,000 is very comfortable. They usually want private bedrooms and bathrooms. So as many, private rooms as you can. And then staffing, that is huge, right? This isn't just a real estate investment. There's the whole business component of it. So you've got to get that licensed administrator who in real estate world is kind of like the property manager.
Sure.
They hire, fire, train and onboard your caregivers. And then they tour the home for the seniors to come in and live in the home.
Yeah, I love it. And so these houses, are they kind of just like almost big mansions that you're just kind of remodeling and kind of positioning for each bedroom to have a bathroom and have the square footage and necessities kind of needed to make this work?
Yeah, more or less. These are just large luxury upscale homes in really nice parts of town with lots of bedrooms, lots of bathrooms, and then all the regular things that you or I may have in our home: living room, dining room, kitchen. A lot of these homes even have libraries, movie theaters, hair salons, gyms, like little things to, keep it nice for the seniors, activities, because this is where they're spending the last 3.5 years of life typically.
Wow, that's incredible. And so staff-wise, it's typically, is there a certain number of staff that need to be there per individuals?
Great question. In a commercial assisted living facility like a Brookdale, Sunrise, Atrium, their ratios are typically 30 seniors to 1 caregiver.
Wow.
Sick. It's wrong. It should be illegal.
Yeah, it's aggressive.
The fact that we're not pissed off as a nation about this is triggering, right? Like people clearly, if that was kids, it'd be illegal, right?
Oh, well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I know for daycares, it's exactly the opposite. It's like 7 or 9, something like that. Like no more than a dozen per individual, I believe, for certain ages.
So in our homes, we recommend a 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 ratio. So if you had 10, seniors, you may have 2 or 3 staff members on during the day and 1 to 2 at night. Wow,
that's incredible. And, out of all due respect, it's probably just the ignorance that most Americans have no idea about this, situation or the neglect. But it's crazy when you're put in a position like yourself that you guys were searching around for your family, for your necessities, and you saw, you wouldn't even leave your goldfish there, for example. It doesn't check off any of the boxes. That's just a big eye opener that something needs to be done. So I'm really grateful and thankful that you took it in your own hands to say, hey, enough is enough. Let's make some changes. So talk to me, what do the numbers look like on opportunities like this?
So I'm going to share just like an average example.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want to go crazy and blow you out of the water, but
don't get me too excited about the numbers. Give me some typical type of numbers here.
So the average rate in our country for assisted living right now today is about $5,500 per month per resident.
Okay.
So if you had 10 residents in the home, that's $55,000 coming in every single month.
Sure.
Your mortgage, your debt service, your lease, real estate's expensive these days. It might run you $10,000 a month, right? And then expenses in the home, your food, your, caregivers, your activities, cable, utilities, you name it, could be $35,000 a month. So one of these homes should be netting you, the owner, a take-home profit of $10,000 right there. So that's like a very basic average example. Most average homes you wouldn't want to go into. So we usually focus on a little bit above average. Our students are seeing typical returns of like $20,000 a month, but that's also because depending on where you live, like you in San Diego, right? Average isn't 5,500, it's 8,000 in San Diego.
Is it? Yeah, I bet. And I'm actually shocked it's only 8,000. It's, it gets a little pricey out here.
It's pricey. And if you need memory care, it's more. If you need, more assistance, it's more. So you'll easily find people in San Diego paying $12,000, $15,000 a month for their care.
So my next question is, how can they afford it? And I guess this isn't for everybody necessarily, but is there some kind of assistance or help for the elderly in this situation if they need it to be able to position them properly for it? Or is it really just depending on the family or how that individual, in younger years have positioned themselves with life insurance or what have you?
Yeah. About 10% of the population has long-term care insurance.
Okay.
It's a beautiful thing if you do have it because it can pay for your care needs. So that is amazing, but most people don't.
Yeah.
people are using their cash, their savings, their IRAs, their investments, or selling their physical home that they bought and using that capital to pay for their care needs.
Yep.
We focus on private pay clients only. We do not accept Medicare, Medicaid, any government funding or pay.
Because it's a pain, I'm sure, right?
It's a pain. And unfortunately, it's only paying out at about $1,800 a head. And it costs me more to staff the home. Like I would have to work in it myself. I'd have to live in it myself. So it doesn't cash flow. It goes negative. And people who are doing that just for the heart side of it, not the business side of it. So it gets really tough in that regard.
And in those situations, that's exactly why we're seeing the average, consumer, like the results of what they're giving is crap.
Yeah.
That's why it smells bad. That's why there's not enough support, enough help. That's why they're in little prison cells. Like it's not what it should really be. Right.
But I loved your question. You said, I know you asked, how are people paying for this? And I gave you like actual logistically how they're paying for it. But if you think how much it costs you, your mortgage, the house, the car, the kids, the food, the fun. Now add, you've got a private chef. You've got someone bathing you, wiping your bum, feeding you, passing you pills, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, doing activities every day, your own private bedroom and bathroom. It costs you probably, 5-6K to live, right? So it's not absolutely abnormal. And you mentioned something also, that the baby boomers are coming into this market. Who holds most of, America's wealth? The boomers. Right. We're coming into a generation where if you talk about following the wealth, following the money, you're following one group and one group only, and it's the boomers, right? For 70 years, they've been, casting all the trends, and wherever they go is where the money goes. So right now, they're just barely starting to come into assisted living. And so this is the best time to get into it, because right now we're on the precipice of the silver tsunami.
Wow, that's incredible. So talk to me. I know there's a lot to be said within your 3-day event where you give all the nitty-gritty secrets, the details, right? But what can you tell me for somebody that wants that high-level view to actually be able to get started on their own today? Like, what would you say to be on the lookout for?
There's really 4 ways to get started. One is buying land and building custom from the ground up. Okay. One is buying a single family and converting it to become an RAL.
Sure.
The third is leasing a home to use for this. So someone else has renoed the real estate and you're just going to lease it from them. And fourth is buying an existing REL business. You're buying the real estate and the business, like I shared, we did. Yep. So it's kind of determining what market you want to be in and then which of the 4 methods you want to go about. That really helps you narrow in on your next steps and your direction from there.
Yeah. Talk to me. What would you say for somebody like myself in San Diego?
In California, forever, you were only allowed to have 6 residents in a home. And at first it was kind of like, like, oh, that sucks. Right. Yeah. But, real estate's expensive in California. And
all my mortgages are about 85, 100 typically.
There you go. Yeah. So, if you go on the market right now today, if we went on Zillow and searched in San Diego, we could find a 5.4 on the market right now.
Yep.
So you could easily fit 6 residents in a 5.4.
Yep.
In Phoenix, where I can have 10, I'm never going to find an 8 or 9 or 10 bedroom home on the market as is. I'm always going to have to do a renovation or a ground up build. So you can find something that's pretty much already ready to go, add ramps, guardrails, handrails, things to keep the seniors safe, and you're done. So there's a pro and a con there. But California recently changed their rules and you're allowed to have more than 6 and add fire suppression, which is $3 to $5 per square foot, but it's worth it if you have a large enough property where now you can have 12 or 14. That really helps your bottom line.
Wow, that's incredible. Fire suppression. What is that exactly?
Sprinklers.
Okay, gotcha. So sprinklers throughout the house. Very impressive. Talk to me. What does it look like that somebody like myself or maybe the listeners tuning in for the first time hearing about this, very interested, and they're like, wow, this is crazy. Isabelle is making it like very amazing. I want to do something like this. What should we be aware of? What's the disclosure here? Like where is the tough pieces of this?
I think, the hardest part of any business is people, right?
Sure.
If business was just paperwork, we'd all want to be business owners. Like, people are difficult. And I'm not just talking to seniors, like I'm talking to families, I'm talking to caregivers, I'm talking to neighbors, right? And maybe the seniors too. But
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion into these big decisions, you know?
yes, it's an extremely emotional time. So the family is a really key component to this, but it's, people, it's a people business at the end of the day. It's not just real estate, set it and forget it. You're setting up a business that, yes, it's going to cash flow, but you also have to manage those people. You have to manage those systems. You have to make sure that things are running smoothly. At the end of the day, it's your name, your reputation on the line. And a lot of people worry about liability in this industry as well.
Yeah. What does the liability look like? I feel like it's got to be a little bit more of, I wouldn't say a risky, but something that could potentially, I know seniors as well as veterans and disabled, like they have a lot of agencies overseeing and protecting them, rightfully so. So what does that look like in a liability standpoint?
Professional liability insurance is what you'll get on the business, and it's about $2 to $3 per day per resident. So with 10 residents, $900 a month. Like, it's a line item. It's nothing to worry about. It's nothing to break the bank, but you need it. You want it. You need it to protect you, your staff, your seniors, everybody along the way. So people fret a lot about liability. You're going to get insurance if you're going to do this properly. You're going to have cameras in the home. You're going to be slow to hire and quick to fire. You're going to be really serious about quality care for these seniors. And until you have that core team who you trust, you should be a little bit more hands-on. I always preach like, hey, I'm only doing this 5 hours a week. Well, yeah, because I took the time to set up my business and teach my staff how to do this and how we're going to run it in our homes. Like, I don't care where else you work. You can do whatever you want over there. But when you're here, you're going to do it right, Yeah. So that's super key. I think being, more hands-on at the beginning, really training them well, having all the things in place, insurance, cameras, all the different protection things that you need. But at the end of the day, we live in a litigious world, praise God, and knock on wood, right? 10 years business, we nor any of our students have been sued, but I'm not saying it's never going to happen. Gravity works the same at Walmart as it does in my care home, right? Like, if you're going to fall, you're going to fall, right?
Yeah.
So I can't control that, but the fact is, now you have a higher resident to caregiver ratio. So we're more than likely to get to it sooner, attend to you sooner, help out if something does happen.
That's good. And so all staff is full-time?
Yeah, your caregivers will do like shift work. So they'll do 8 or 12-hour shifts depending on how you set it up.
Okay. I love that. And what else? It sounds like there's a little bit of a checklist to kind of get in order, rightfully so, with any business. And you should think of this as just as important. It's a very detailed, strong business. So what other checklists could you kind of give for some of the cheat codes here?
Yeah, once you really determine like where you want to do this and then which the four methods, you need to start raising capital for this, right? Like, we always encourage, don't use your own money, use OPM, whether that's an SBA 7A loan that can help you not only purchase the real estate, but also cover the renovation and then even carrying costs until you're up and cash flowing. So that's a great way to fund these businesses, as well as private money or syndication as well.
I love that. And so for the SBA loans, what type of rates have you guys been seeing? And it with somebody that has no experience, are they still being able to pull off the loan approvals?
We partner with a lot of SBA lenders. So basically, when our academy is sending them there, they know that they're highly trained and that they know what they're doing, and they have the support of me and the team. So they get approval a lot faster and easier than if just anybody off the street was going in with no experience. Rates can be anywhere from 10 to 15%. It just depends on the deal and what's happening and who that person is. But these properties do cash flow well. And when we're talking single family investing, it's difficult to cash flow right now on almost every opportunity. Like, I'm friends with people who are doing all these different things, and what worked 10 years ago doesn't work today.
Yeah. And do you prefer to, I know you gave several different options of how to acquire the property and of course ways to raise the capital for it, but do you prefer doing the lease options, or do you like having full ownership and control?
We always say, like, it depends on your situation. It depends on your market. Like, is this the right time to buy?
Yeah.
And so everybody's a little different. I really like to be on that side of it. If I own the real estate, I don't want to lease from someone and operate the business because I'm in the financial situation where I can own the real estate.
Sure.
But not everybody's there. So if you're not, it is a great way on a lower cost level for you to get into this business, start cash flowing, do what you need to do. If you want to be on the real estate side, we have a lot of students who do that. They come to the training because they want to know where am I looking for this home? How do I get it licensed? What reno do I need to do? And then how do I lease it to someone who's going to do this in my home? And if you do that, we do that on one of our homes. We get about twice the fair market rent on that. So our mortgage is like $5,600, and that guy's paying almost $9,000 a month to run the home. And it's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So you give options to people in all types of situations so that it's not holding anybody back. But I'm very greedy, probably wanting to own and control everything. So that's the route that I prefer to go. And it can bless you in many ways, but also you're the owner. So if the business is going downhill, you got to kind of own up to that as well in many ways. Talk to me, where are there certain areas where it could be, 14 years in the works with this, I'm sure there's been some headaches or some obstacles along the way. Has there been anything that you've seen either teaching it or even within yourself that the projects weren't working out for one reason or another? Like, what kind of learning curves can we hopefully save, something that you've been through or have seen that maybe myself or the listeners could save on?
I think the biggest thing is that people don't anticipate how many hoops they're going to be to jump through in this industry, no matter how many times we tell them. There's a reason that you probably don't know a lot of people in this industry. There's a reason why not like hundreds of thousands of these exist. It's because it's difficult. You have to go through the hoops, and every hurdle you jump over, you left 50 people in the dust behind you.
Yep.
So people don't anticipate that as much as they should. Like, we're talking getting licensed through the state. We're talking in some counties, you have to get rezoned, permits for whatever renovation you're doing, adding fire suppression. If it's multiple levels, adding a residential elevator or chair lifts, and then marketing these homes. Like, you have to actually go market the business and put the word out there and get people excited about this, hire staff. And then what if there's a bad hire and now you've got to find somebody new? Like, it is a full-blown business. So there's a lot of steps along the way. And I think that's been one of the biggest eye-opening things for so many of our students is they're like, this sounds amazing. And even though we're like, okay, we're going to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Are you ready? They're like, yeah, I'm ready. And then we'll tell them stuff. And then they're just like, whatever, I'll do it. And it's like, okay, but like, are you going to say that in the face of the obstacle? And a lot of people don't. They'll quit along the way. And it's just like, oh, you could have done this. You would have been so good. But it really takes, we've had students who are 72 and others who are 22 who will be successful. Like, it's not a cookie cutter person who does this. It's such a range. It's somebody who has a heart. And I always say this, it's somebody who's willing to get punched in the face and get back up.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to take.
Yeah. I feel like anything good in your life that's worth fighting for, it's never easy. There's always going to be so many obstacles along the way. And it's really your character, how strong you are with it. Because it's easy to raise your hand saying, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds amazing. Until you get out there and start implementing it. And it's like, oh, this is difficult. And then, getting punched in the face and how do you fall down and get back up type of situation.
Yep. I agree. And what, real estate investing, that is a skill.
It is. Yeah.
That's what it is. You got to have grit, right?
Yeah. Talk to me about marketing. It's something that you can have the best product in the world. You can have the amazing services and, the amazing location, all of these things. However, if you don't know how to market properly, they're not going to come. So how do you get the word out there and really entice the certain avatar that you're looking to serve?
It's interesting because we don't have the budget that the Brookdale and the Sunrise do. We don't have the big sign out front or the billboard 2 miles down the road. This is a regular residential home tucked away in the neighborhood. So you've probably driven by 1,000 of these and never knew what they even were because they literally are just regular homes. So when it comes to marketing, having simple things like websites, Facebook, you'd be shocked at how many of these homes don't even have regular online marketing like that. You're not going to win in the SEO battle of like, I'm going to get the keyword for San Diego assisted living. You're not. Like, they're spending millions of dollars to beat you every day, all day. But what you can do is place yourself as close to a brand new big box as possible, because they've done the internal feasibility study to determine that that market needs more beds. And if you're there when people are searching and they pop up first, but if you pop up third, that's all it takes, right? They're looking for options.
Yes.
There's also an entire industry of people called placement agents.
Yes.
So they're basically realtors who, when grandma falls or dad's dementia gets worse, you go to them, you say, this is my amenity, my price point, my, location I'm looking for. They tour you around different homes or facilities, cost the family nothing, cost the care home owner the first month's rent. Okay. So it's not $6,000, right? That you're writing that check, but it's a one-time check to have a resident who's with you for an average of 3.5 years. Yep. It's worth it.
Yeah, I like that. And so do you lean on that as awesome marketing and leverage for yourself?
We do have all the web presence. We do work with placement agents. We do have partnerships with churches, synagogues, temples, funeral homes, elder law attorneys, hospice agencies, geriatric doctors. I mean, it's limitless, the opportunities you have. The positive thing is, if you only have 6 or 10 beds, how many beds do you need to fill? Like 6 or 10, like what, you do always need to be marketing, but not this like, we need hundreds of thousands of clients every month coming in. Like, we're talking about how do we get 10 people?
Yep. Yeah, I love that. And then have you ever had any issues where payments didn't go through, or how does that work out?
I love that question.
You got to evict people. That's a tough situation. How does that look?
It would be tough, but praise God, we don't have to deal with that. And the reason why is because if you need assisted living, typically you've signed over your POA, your power of attorney. So that's usually to an adult child. If you don't have any adult relatives, maybe it's a lawyer or someone of that nature, and they're now in charge of your banking. They're now in charge of your life.
Yep.
So many times when they sign the residency care agreement, it's not a tenant landlord agreement. It's a residency care agreement. And it basically states like, hey, if you don't pay this, you can no longer live here. And we have full rights to ask them to leave. It's never the senior who's paying, like that literally in how many years in this business, never has the senior actually paid. It's always the adult child, the lawyer, the whoever. And it's usually ACH, and it comes in every month. I will say this. If you're the adult child, you're not going to go tour homes that cost $8,000 a month if you can't afford it. Like, it's just, that would be silly of you. And I'll also say this. It is considered elder abuse if you sign up, you pay the month, and you stop paying and you leave them there and you abandon. So all we do is call the cops, you get arrested, and you get a big fat fine. And, then your senior, we can help place them in a home that accepts government funding or something to that nature. But we literally never had to do that. It's like dropping your kid off at preschool and not picking them up.
Yeah.
It's illegal.
Yeah. It's illegal. That's not right.
Illegal.
Yeah. That's a problem. Okay. See, I didn't know that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
There's a lot of perks to this industry. Like, we're a protected class. Like, an HOA can't say no to us because the Federal Fair Housing Act protects those who are disabled. And if you need help with 3 to 5 activities of daily living, ADLs, you are considered disabled. So they can't stop us from being in the neighborhood, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, especially with HOAs. Damn HOAs.
Oh, yeah. Right?
Yeah. Okay, I love that. That's incredible. Talk to me about markets. With your experience for the last 14 years, what have you seen as one of the most trending, like, just amazing markets that you are really excited to be a part of?
People always think like, you get older and you're going to move to Arizona or Florida. And that's not true. If you grew up in Boston your whole life, you're probably going to stay in Boston. You magically moved to Florida because you turned 85. Like, That's not the reality. People are aging everywhere. So there are a lot more care homes in warmer places, but there's a need for them everywhere. So when it comes to markets, there's a lot of underserved markets, the Northeast being a heavily underserved market. They've got a lot of big boxes, but many of those states, right, love them for what they are. A lot of them are blue states, and a lot of blue states are very unkind, unfriendly to small business owners.
Yep.
So they don't want us there. And so the hoops are a lot greater to jump through. But for example, we had a student in Rhode Island. They're the first care home in the entire state of Rhode Island. They've got a waiting list out the wazoo, and the state is begging them to open more. Yeah. So there's pros and cons. So the Northeast, there's heavy need over there, and really everywhere. Like Texas is a great place for this, you know, anywhere.
I mean, it's statistics as well. It's like there's so many baby boomers that are getting to that age point that they need these situations. That's why it's something that we're starting to hear a little bit more of, but you've really been running this for a long period of time versus the mom and pops that are really popping up the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's like 10 years ago when we started training on this. We started training because nobody else was training. And we had 4 years of failing on our face over and over. And we're like, gosh, if somebody would have just helped us, we would have saved money. We would have, helped more people. We would have grown faster. We would have done all these things. And so it just made so much sense to start helping other people who were interested in this concept. And I mean, it's been amazing to be able to really have people transition from doing all sorts of different real estate, apartment investing and wholesale, fix and flip, you name it, to going all in on this. And a lot of people come in with a heart for their own family or their own senior, and they're like, that I want to help them. Other people come in and they say, I don't trust that my kids are going to take care of me, and I want to build a plan for myself.
Yeah, that's so good. Isabella, talk to me about the future for you guys. Like, what does it look like? What are you excited for next? What do you think about the market and just the space that you're in today? What do you think it's going to look like in the future?
I think we're going to start seeing more and more of these care homes popping up. There's 30,000 group homes across the country right now. And I
30,000? 30,000.
I see that in the next 10 years doubling.
Yeah.
The baby boomers, there's 76 million of them. They're just coming into this market. We're currently 1.3 million beds short. Yeah. Like, this is a massive, supply issue, but the demand is there. I see, trends for not enough caregivers. I see trends for not enough low income opportunities for seniors. I see a lot of trends. It's going to get scary. It's going to get scary for a lot of families who don't have a plan. It's going to get scary for a lot of seniors who think that they're going to be fine forever. Because guess what? No one wants to move into assisted living, right? Reality. Sure. Like, you're moving in because you have to. Yep. So you can no longer safely live at home alone. So I see a lot of things popping up, but I think that there's going to be a huge influx of these. We're going to have caregiver shortages. We're going to have, massive just need for all income levels. And I don't know that as a country, we're going to be able to meet the need. So to me, I see opportunity written everywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I didn't know those numbers, 30,000 available, but however, there's 76 million that are right around that age that are going to need those places. I mean, that's obviously a big difference here. So that's going to be a huge problem. And I guess one final question before, I want to hear how we can get a hold of you and other resources to connect with you. But as far as when you're young and in a good position and health right now, because you stated 10% have the finances to actually afford something like this. About 90% of Americans haven't thought about it, haven't considered, and they're not ready for it. So what does that look like when you are physically working and able to start prepping and preparing for a time like that in the future? What would you advise?
Yeah, 10%, just to clarify, have long-term care insurance.
Okay.
So if you don't have that, get that right now. That will help pay for your care. And the sooner you get it, the less you're paying. And then later it will add up to more, because care is only going to get more and more expensive. It's gone up 84% over the last 20 years. It's insanity. Like, my mom's not going to need care for another 25 years. So there's a website you can go to, genworth.com/cost of care. And when you go there, you can type in your area where you live and it will show you the average rates in your area. And like I said, my mom's not going to need it for 25 years. So there's a toggle button where you can move it up and see how much it will be in the future. Wow. It's projected to be like $17,000 a month when my mom needs it. And I'm like, okay. Cool. Like, gotta figure this out. So, I mean, thank God I have a home, right? And that's exactly where she's going to go. Every time we go in, I joke, like, pick your bedroom, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have long-term care insurance, get it. And if you don't have a plan, then get a care home just for your own family to have a place to go. You can cash flow now. If anyone ever needs it, you send them right in. They can live for free and you're still cash flowing. And when you need it, you've got a place to go. Literally build the home as if you want to go there. And that's what I always tell people.
Yeah, man, I think they're just thinking all of us millennials are just going to bank off of millions of dollars from Bitcoin or something. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Those numbers are crazy. Yeah.
Crazy. But that's the way of the world. I mean, if you think 10 years ago, making 50K 10 years ago is making 100K today.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's totally different. Yep. The inflation and everything.
It keeps going this way. In another 10 years, that it's going to be 200K. Like making six figures isn't that exciting anymore because it doesn't afford that much for many people.
Yeah. Well, God willing, things change for the better. And then we start making a difference here. But I'm very thankful for your time today to give back to me and to the listeners to really pour in and where your heart's at to make this impact in this dire need market and environment for the senior living. How can people get a hold of you? And then before you take off, you just gave almost an hour of your time. Anything that myself or the listeners could do to give back to you?
Oh, you're amazing. I love that. That's a great way to ask. You can follow us on social media at RAL Academy. We're on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it. And if you want to schedule a call with me or the team, grab a webinar, grab a free book, you can go to ral101.com. And I would say, my ask is we just recently launched maybe a month or two ago, our own assisted living podcast. So if you're listening to this, you probably like podcasts. And if now you're interested in assisted living, go ahead and subscribe to the Assisted Living Network. We'd love to have you guys as listeners over there.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciate it. It was a wealth of knowledge for me. And I know the listeners have a bunch of notes just like myself here. So I greatly do appreciate it. Guys, reach out to Isabella. She is amazing and a wealth of knowledge. And make sure you check out her podcast as well if you're interested in something like this, which if you listen to this point, I'm sure you are. So make sure you tune in with her, connect. She's got her heart in the right place to be able to guide you and get you all the information that's needed. With that being said, if you want to connect with me, we can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, on our business page for IG, it is Credit Counsel Elite. If you're looking to get more funding, more capital, I'm talking $2, $3, $4, even $500,000 in new capital at interest rates as low as 0% interest in the next 30 to 90 days. I encourage you to check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. There's a quick 10-minute video on there that explains more about what the heck I'm talking about, how it can bless you and serve you. And afterwards, you can jump on a quick call with either myself or our team to go over your particular situation. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. And we will see you next time. Till next time, guys, God bless. Appreciate you. Thank you.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.